how are we spending our money this season? What are we doing with our money this season? What are we doing? And what are we planning to do come 2024? So everybody that wants money, that needs money, that has money, that wants to make money, invite them to come and speak to us, to come and join this conversation this evening. We are going to be people is most people know money as something they receive when they've worked and they have to use to pay the bills. That's as far as they know what to do with money. Good evening. I'm gonna call you Minister Finance for this evening.
I'll take it.
Or Miss Finance. Let me not give credit to men. Miss Finance.
Oh, hi Nomsa. How are you?
I'm tired. I took a morning nap. I took an afternoon nap. I took an evening nap and set an alarm for 9:30.
You're looking refreshed. I haven't taken any naps, and I'm like, okay, let's just go.
Honestly,
God is our strength.
I needed. I had to wash my face and everything. I needed it.
Oh,
I didn't want to cancel this evening because I know that Christmas is here, and like most people like me, I like to use my money, especially during this season. But I also like to, have money when New Year comes.
So it's like, okay, how can we make sure that happens, right? Because it's only a couple of days.
We need to talk money. We need to talk how can we actually splash out and still have money 2024. Because one of the things I dislike, I don't like using the word hate, but one of the things I dislike is my birthday is in January. And the one thing I hear when January hits, it's January disease. I'm like, no.
What's coming.
I want my presents. I want my birthday presents.
I know.
So as I was saying, as you were coming on, that one thing I know for most people is they know money to be something that they receive when they work and they use to pay bills. That's as far as they know when it comes to money. So tonight, what I'm trusting God for and praying for is that we leave this conversation with an understanding from yourself of what money literally is and what is not, and how can we actually increase our money from scratch. Like some people have nothing and then they hear all these words, invest, and you're like, invest what? Like what? But everybody know about money, but really don't understand about money. So everybody, we've got Tendayi Ndoro. She is an author. She's written many books. She is a financial advisor. So she knows what she's talking about when it comes to money. She runs conferences about understanding money. Literally, her ministry is how to understand money, and her passion is to literally diffuse financial illiteracy. She wants people to be literate when it comes to finances, when it comes to investing, when it comes to increasing their finances. So we are in for a worthwhile time this evening. So thank you so much for honoring our invite. This is your official first time to God's Girls Women on a Mission Ministry.
Thank you for having me.
Being with us at this crucial time and season. So I'm just going to give you some time to just make us understand, first of all, make us understand money in itself. What is money?
Yeah. So I would say money is one of the methods that we use to trade for goods and services. Yeah. As a Christian woman on this side of eternity, you need it to buy clothes, pay your bills. It's a universal form of currency, I suppose, that allows you to trade in today's economy. In the past, there would be people used to do barter, right? You didn't actually need money. You would say, I'll give you a cow and you give me 3, sheep or something, some method of exchange. So money is just a simplified version of a universal currency that allows you to do that, to trade for goods and services. So that's money.
Great. Well, I forgot to say, guys, I'm actually taking notes because I'm one of the people that grew up not talking about money. I grew up using money, seeing my parents buy things, but we didn't have conversations about money. I did see one or two times my mom hiding money because she didn't want, the money to run out of the money to run out of the house before the end of the month. Because my dad used to drink quite a lot. So that's what I understood about money, that men work and bring money in, and then women hide money so that they have money at the end of the day.
I know. And I think, culturally, it's a taboo topic. We don't talk about it. So we don't talk to our children about it. And it actually is the most fundamental thing that makes life work. So, I think when I started getting a stirring about this, I've worked in banking and finances throughout pretty much most of my life. After my A-levels, I took a gap year, went and worked at HSBC in the credit card center. So I started understanding credit cards, did my degree in economics and finance. And after that, went straight back into banking again. So worked as a cashier, did, financial planning advisor, did loans, did pensions, investments, and so I've worked through the whole spectrum. And sometimes when we start talking about what is your purpose, right? Little did I know that, and what I didn't like about banking was the targets, the driving, you need to sell that. But I really did enjoy helping people, get products and understand products that would benefit their lifestyle. And one thing that really kind of got me was people of my color and my descent, because I'm first generation living in the UK. Most of the times, we would be coming in for did you not have a life insurance policy, right? So in terms of priorities, that wasn't on our priority. That was not even on conversation. We just, when the money comes in, yet actually we're working really hard, we're earning loads of money. So things like that started to really get me and bother me a little bit. And what I've realized in life is when something bothers you so much, it's because you're part of the solution. So, some people are bothered when someone's not dressing right. It's like, oh, girl, put that lipstick on. Yeah, go into fashion. That's your calling, right? So about 10 years ago, stepped out of the bank again. Very much a spirit-led decision, because I was enjoying my nice company car, my perks, my comfort zone, and God was like, girl, there's a call and a purpose I need you to do, and you're now making this job an idol. And so I stepped out a little bit under duress, so to speak, with no real proper plan of I've organized this and I've organized that, but it was almost like, okay, it's time to go, right? And everything at that time, the squeeze was like, yeah, it's time now. Give birth. When you're a woman and pregnant and it's time to give birth, you can't stop. You got to push. So that was it. And so over the last few years, really been getting, because I understand a lot of the practical tools on money, and I understand the right time to do things systematically. You finish uni, this is what's going to happen. You were in your overdraft as a student and, on student debt and living skimpy and saving and counting every penny. Suddenly now you've got a job, and guess what? You're now going to be offered these loans. You're going to be offered credit cards. You're going to be offered bigger overdraft. And it's a trap, really, if you don't use that debt wisely. If you use it to just say, oh, now I'm a graduate. Oh, now I don't need to spend in Primark anymore. I can go and do Prada. I deserve it. I've earned it. You can actually get yourself caught up in a lot of debt before time. And then realistically, time-wise, you're going to get married. You're going to start having kids. But now you're trapped in this debt trap. And you're like, okay, now I'm financially responsible for a family, but I've got all this debt. How am I going to make it work? And that brings tensions.
Yeah.
Your ability to parent, your ability to relate with your partner. Let's you're married, Nomsa. A lot of tension happens about, why did you buy those? That's not part of the plan. And when you meet with someone else, you have your own behavioral pattern, they have their own behavioral pattern, you have your own understanding of money, they have their own understanding of money. As much as you love each other so much, all those tensions, all that friction, how do we handle parents? It's Christmas. Do we send them money? How much do we send them? Oh, my mom looked after me. My dad looked after me. You don't understand. I owe everything. I would not be here. So emotional, emotional reactions that are very much attached to money as well. So because we haven't had these conversations, because we don't really understand what's what and what should we use at what stage, we're just moving. And we come across potholes and all sorts of things. And so this is where the Understanding Money program was birthed, which is about building generational wealth through financial literacy. And what I really love about it is because it just brings a lot of the practical sides in play, but also God has brought in some spiritual wisdom, because the Bible talks about money so much, but it's how to navigate it in connection with our behavioral finance, so to speak. You know what I mean? We behave a particular kind of way in because of things. When I'm sad, I want to go shopping, I feel better. Christmas, do you really have to go shopping actually? Or is it just, everyone else is going Christmas shopping? It's Christmas shopping, the lights are out. It's a psychological trigger that says, okay, I gotta go shopping. But actually, did you really need anything? The sales are on. Guess what? You go because the sales are on. But are those stuff that we really needed? Was it part of your life plan? Have you written your plans and your goals down? And so I started to understand that actually, if we get the whole family engaged from a young age at their level, we really do them a lot of favors in just starting to come to grapples with, you know what? This Christmas, we have 50 pounds to spend, right? What are we going to buy? This is what is really there. What are we going to buy for Christmas? Oh, Mom, guess what? You know what? Instead of going to buy, those leaf decorations, let's go and cut some of that hedge. I can tie it. I can do this. You get creative with what you have. Because then, come on, Kiribosa, Lidabosa. What do you have in your hands, right?
Yeah.
And economically, seasons change, right? We talk about we're in a peak, we're in a trough, we're in a peak. We go through that in our own lives.
That's the thing. Now we're in the season of good evening, everybody, by the way. Those that are on YouTube and Facebook, good evening, we see you. If you've got a question, please do send it in so I can start taking a note on it. We are talking about understanding money in this season. You're talking about seasons. We're in the Christmas season, whereby we have to buy gifts for our loved ones and for our extended families. And I use the word we have to because we feel compelled, even as a church girl, you're like, oh, God is the gift, Jesus, the gift we received. So also the gifts. That's a message. I can preach on that. I can preach on that. So you are talking about we have 50 pounds, but then we're going to compare gifts. What am I going to buy with 50 pounds? I can't give someone a gift for £1, and then they go and say, oh, this is what she gave me. How can we manage the season, with what we have, like what we truly have? Because you touched on credit cards. Most people live on credit cards. And if you have a credit card of 10,000, what is 50 pounds on a gift? What is 50 pounds times 10 loved ones on a 10 pounds credit,
10,000 pound limit?
Or, what is that? I can pay it off, in time. So how do we actually manage this season that is the season of giving with what we have?
So I think one of the things I know we do in our family is a reality check to say, guys, we're doing presents just for the kids. Yeah? We're doing presents just for the kids. And with the kids, we're not spending more than 10 pounds or, just because all it is just a token of saying, I love you. We're going to buy food. Food has gone up. We're going to buy you're going to drive down, or we're going to come up. That's another 200 pounds in fuel. So really, we don't want it to be, we're grateful that we've gone around the sun another 365 days and we have each other. That is really the biggest present for me anyway. So it's having those conversations with your loved family and saying, guys, we're not in a position this year to be buying presents, and I think possibly because our society is very much about what will people think. We want to keep up appearances. We can't let people know that we're not doing well. We're struggling.
I'm like, oh, lights are out already. Okay, let me go and buy some. I've never put lights outside before, but now I'm like, okay, why did you do that?
Yeah, just to keep up with the, but really and truly, So I think it's just really having a reality check in times of plenty. And if it's there, do it. But I think it's also when you give a present, do you want to give one back? Because really, what you've done, you've given me £50 and I've given it back to you. And maybe you've bought me something that if I was by myself, I was not going to buy that thing. If you give me that gift and you give me the gift receipt with a choice to get my cash back, I might do that. You know what I mean? So it just depends on where you are. If you are in that position to give, and God has blessed you in that year and the balance sheet is looking good, by all means, But I think it's that expectation and then feeling guilty, because we do say that, isn't it? It's like, oh, Nomsa, I'm always buying Nomsa a present and she doesn't buy me anything. When I'm giving you a present, it's not for you to give it back to me, is it?
Yeah.
So it's changing those mindsets, because we do it to say, oh, what? Then she'll just think that I'm always. So we put ourselves in the positions that we really can't be in, because we're worried about, oh, she's going to say that I'm always, So it's really.
We do think that why am I the one always giving, or because you gave me last year, I'm compelled to give. But is it wrong though to use credit cards in this season? Like, when
if you know you've got money to pay it off, great. But if we're still paying off last year's Christmas present, you're paying above the odds for what you borrowed. Do you see what I mean? So, was it necessary, or is it actually now a thorn in your flesh?
Yeah. What is credit card? Let's just finish on credit cards before we move on to something else. What is the main purpose when a bank gives, or when we are offered credit cards? What should be the only reason, if not the main reason, to take a credit card?
So when you're purchasing like large items, it gives you a sense of security, because you can get refunds, and you can get there's a level of protection that the credit card gives you, rather than if you paid for something with cash, in terms of redress when things don't quite go right. When you've bought it with a credit card, there's that extra layer of protection there. It's good if you're also for helping with cash flow, right? So you're getting paid at the month end and you've had an emergency, now your tires burst, you won't be able to go to work for the rest of the month unless you buy a new tire. So you buy that tire on credit card. In a perfect world, you can clear it off. If you clear it off before the end of the next cycle, you don't have to pay any interest on that. So it's literally using someone else's money for, that's the ideal world. But what typically happens is then, you think, oh, I'll sort it out. And the rates on the credit card nowadays are pretty high, right? So you're paying back £100, but actually you're only bringing down £30 of the balance, because the rest of it is interest. So that's when now you ask, ooh, is this like a burden? And it starts to get creepy on you, and can start to cause you distress, and it's like, oh God, I've got this thing that just won't come off. But if you can, it helps. That's what it's meant for.
As well. Does the mortgage advisor, as mortgage advisors, do you advise for people to use credit? Or does the bank look at it when you're getting a mortgage?
So the thing I would say, if you've lived in England for 20 years, don't worry, don't bother yourself to say, let me get a credit card for credit score. It's good for people who've just started, with no thing is showing that you're able to borrow and you're able to pay back on time, because there's a date that you have to pay the payment back on. So it's showing your financial responsibility. Hey, okay, if you could borrow 200, will we, can you pay it back before we give you 200,000 on a mortgage? Right? So it's just, if you're new in the country, it's one of the first things that you'll be able to get to build up your credit score, and you use it to pay for your clear it off every month. It's just starting to show that, hey, if you give me 100, I'll give you back your money. If you give me 200, I'll give you back your money. So it's just like building trust and credibility with the financial institutions, really.
Okay, but you don't absolutely need it to say. That's good. Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, if you're new, like I'm saying, if you're new and you don't have a credit score, your mobile phone, you want to build up a credit score. Get your mobile phone on contract. Get a credit card. Those things will help create a record for credit. But if you've been here already, you don't need that really.
Pastor Book is saying, true that some parents train their kids up as their retirement insurance, asking them for money, and they say no, that they have their own families. As in, I had to learn to say no to my mom, or at least, let me speak to my husband. And even with that, so now it's yours. That African culture, I'm still learning to do kingdom culture in some of the areas in my life. But parents can catch you with guilt. Like, I brought you into this world. I can't just borrow you 50 pounds and some give 50 pounds and you're left with nothing in your account. And so something that I literally had to train myself how to say no when I know that if I give you this, I'm gonna run out before my next pay comes in, without going in. Actually be in a place whereby even though we have something, it's not enough to give out. How is that wrong? Especially as Christian women, as Christian men, is that wrong to say no? I know there's a verse in the Bible, isn't it, when it says you have something in your hands and your brother asks you, don't say no. But how do we relate that to money? Because sometimes we give, we're left with that.
So I think, there's a book that really helped me called Boundaries. Is it Henderson? Henry and Townsend or something. I read that book about 5 times over and over again, because it comes down to boundaries, your personal boundaries with yourself, because they determine how you manage your money. And then just the boundaries of, because we're taught in our kingdom, give and it shall be given back to you. It's like open your hand and extend grace always. But there are also people who take advantage of that generosity. And so they can relax and be responsible, knowing that Nomsa will get me, right? So they're using me as the bank, they're using you as the credit card company, and you are actually in positions of being tight. So it's also using discernment to say, okay, is this an everyday occurrence? You are always, at the end of every month, this person's always asking me, there's a problem there, maybe I can help them. So
but enabling someone to even become responsible for their own finances, because they know they can just come to you. Because sometimes 50 pounds is a lot. 50 pounds every month times how many months? Or even some people every week they come to you, or 20 pounds. 12 months.
So it's different. And I think also there's certain relationships, when you look at them, it depends on who it is. There's certain people, honestly, who I don't have much of a relationship with, but who have just come, oh, please, can you lend me money? I'm thinking, by the time you're coming to ask me, a stranger, it means that everybody who you're close to, you've already burnt bridges with them. You are in the habit of borrowing money and you don't pay it back. What does the Bible say about that? Before you even come and give God an offering and say, hallelujah, Lord, and you know that there's somebody who's holding something against you, who's saying, I even have, there are times where you need money and you start to say, hey, so and so's got my £50, huh? That is a hindrance even in the spirit realm for someone. So if you're that sort of person, God even wants to deliver you from that sort of evil, because that's evil. When someone, because that's a legal ground that someone has. Every time you're saying, oh, my things are not moving, why are my things? Yeah, you're constantly on people's mouth. As
well, talk about it from two perspectives, because that's my life story right there. How can we give people money and ask for it back? Or is it okay to ask for it back? Again, I believe in the Bible, there is where it talks about give and forget about it. But then when people say, I will give back to you, so that I'm giving you expecting it back. But then I don't like chasing people when it comes to money. But then when you now need £20 and you're like, someone has my £50, like, what's going on? I'm now having to borrow from somebody and someone else owes me £50. What's going on? Like, what can I do? I want my money. You said you'll give me.
I think it was Jim Rohn who said, before you ask to borrow money from a friend, first decide which one you need more, the friend or the money. Yeah? Because many relationships have been destroyed. Relationships that God ordained for blessing, for favor, because of money issues. If someone is what I've just done as a policy, because it happened to me a few different times, to the point that you now say, I don't want to talk to that person again. You know what I mean? Because you give that money in earnest to say, okay, I'll give it to you now, but I need it next week, Friday. Oh, I'll give it to you next week, Friday. Then next week, Friday, you're calling them. Now you're the bugaboo, right? And it's like, phone cuts. I'll call you back just now. Cross the road. And it's like, this was my money I gave to you, right? So for me, one of the ways I've started, well, I did this years ago and it's just helped me really, is if someone does need money, I just ask God, what should I give them? What can I give them? And I give without an expectation of having it back, to say, okay, you're in trouble, you need something, let me bless you with this. Unless, of course, it is that person that I really know that this one is one of my ride and die, we can, it's all good. But they're I can count with less than one hand even. Those people, anyone else, I just say, you know what, you need help. There you go, £50, that's part of, take that, you know what I mean? Something that is not gonna strain me, or that's not gonna break my account, because I value that relationship more, and I don't want to be in that position to then, I personally, because I've got, close people, really close family or friends, that the relationship ends up going because of things like that, and you think that was really sad. So maybe it wasn't that close a relationship in the end, but
it's very heartbreaking when you actually start pushing someone away because they have kept coming and kept, every time they said they'll give it back, and then you just let it go, and then that particular, usually is when you yourself are stuck and you're actually thinking, I've given somebody a few bucks and they said they'll give it, but they haven't given anything yet. I also shoot with people in Africa, giving and forgetting. I give them because I know they're in Africa, and once you give someone money when they're in Zimbabwe, Ghana, or somewhere, you are likely not gonna get it back.
Wow.
But in
I've been really surprised. That is, we say that, but I've started learning that, what? I've had people from Africa bless me with money. At first I didn't know that Western Union can send money this way. I didn't know that.
Really?
I found out that Western Union can send money this way. And I was like, wow, this is love. Do you get what I'm saying? So, I never knew. I feel like it happened. I was like, wow, So for me, it's just showing again, do they value the relationship or the money more, right? So what, by someone not giving that money back, it's, you didn't value the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you lose so much more, and now you've shut that door. You know.
True. Well, now there are people who never give money again. To be
No.
honest, if you're watching, sorry. If you're one of them, sorry. It's possible to have money when you have one job, like to really have money whereby you've paid all your bills and you can do one or two things that you want, go out and have a meal, or whatever you do when you go out, and still have money left in your bank with
I've seen it.
Like a regular job, regular salary, average salary. I'm not talking about the high-end executive, 100,000 salary per year. I'm talking about the average salary, 32,000, 24,000 pounds per year. Is it possible?
I think it is if you're very disciplined, right? Because if you're one of those people who's very conscious to say, I only cut my cloth according to what I have. So it requires that discipline to say, you know what? I'm not buying brand cornflakes. I go and I look, this is how much I have, this is how much I spend. So I've seen people who function very much in that space, and they actually save because they're very disciplined, very focused. And they know I do 20 hours a week or whatever hours I do. But sometimes when you do overtime, you do this, sometimes there's plenty, it's then the time to get a handle on that and manage that causes waste. Today, one of the scriptures we were looking at church was where Jesus says, after doing the miracle of turning 5 loaves and 2 fishes to feed 5,000, right? That was a big miracle. He then says, gather the baskets and take the leftovers, showing that he didn't appreciate any wastage. Many of us, I think, if we were really to sit down for a week and just look at our bank statements, we would notice a lot of wastage, where we've not had time to look at cancel certain little direct debits. It's just $199. It's going, what is it really going for? You know what I mean? So all that really adds up. We haven't had time to deal with it. You go rushing, and then you just say, oh, I just need to buy some bread, but actually you end up buying bread and that special deal that's on offer that you didn't really. So I think there is a lot of wastage that we do, but it's definitely. then that little outfit from what is it called, Boohoo or whatever, this is part of my fun way or another. Could be sickness, death, loss in the family, loss of a job, redundancy, yeah, so it just reduces anxiety as well. I think gives you a level of peace of mind. And I think peace is really the real gold. I say having peace, that's it. Being able to sleep at night and just not have anything to worry about. And you can say you do that anyway, because you're a person of faith, but it just is that extra layer of having put things right that make that peace greater.
You people have allowed us to be able to link accounts. So every time that I'm in my current account, I just dip into my savings account and transfer that £10 and that £100. Before you, the best way of strategically saving, going into 2024 for someone who's struggling.
Yeah, because that is probably a very wise thing anyway to do. Because if you're now in your overdraft, and you're paying 15%, 17%, 20% interest, and on your savings you're earning 6%, you're not doing anything really. So just understand that you don't have any disposable income right now. So that's the reality of your life. There's no disposable income. So it's either you're going to try and find places to trim, or you need to earn more. So what are you going to do to earn more? One of the things we were talking about, again, at this conference we had, was growing money trees, right? Our theme this year was possessing your land. So there's a life that you want to live, a lifestyle that you need. And most of the time when you buy a plot of land, you start to grow trees, right? So I'm going to have a mango tree there. I'm going to have an apple tree there. So growing money trees is thinking about other income streams that you can start to work on to say, you know what? Life is just getting more and more expensive, and I work as a teacher and salaries never go up enough. So what else can I do on the side that will not take my peace, that will not, cause me to have palpitations or 80 hours a week, but I can start working on to try and build up another income stream, because that you just need to do that, I think, in this day and age. You can't really, especially when you've got children. Hey, Mom, I lost my jacket and it's winter, and you're like, Ella. Yes, you can go to the charity shop that's available, but you know what I mean? It's just thinking a little bit more to say, okay, am I using the most of what I've got? What are the gifts? Thinking outside of the box. What are the skills, talents? What can I monetize that I'm sitting on right now? Yeah.
What did she say? She said, to save now is going through the
narrow heaven. Yeah. It's a very thin road and few find it. I like that.
I was like, this thing is now double the price, but it's now half the size. I'm like, this is killing us, honestly.
It's not working.
Wow.
Yeah.
But if you've got a mortgage, and you've got life insurance, do you still need to save? You've got sickness insurance, you've got injury insurance. Do you still need to save or worry?
So this is one of the things that I've said to people. Gives you peace, because if you're covered, because the thing with savings, okay, if you've got redundancy covered, if you're all insured up, actually, peace of mind, right? I think anyway. Of course, it's good to save anyhow, but if you're failing to do so, you've got your peace of mind as long as you've got good, credible cover and it's within your budget. Because one of the other things is putting it in such a way that it's comfortable, still within your budget, leaving you that leeway. But like you're saying, as things have gone up, that comfort level has been taken